Welcome back to the channel. And before I go anywhere, please hit the like and subscribe button. Really appreciate the help with the channel. And today I'm joined by Dario Sinagoga, a man who I've been kind of wanting to speak to for a while. He's got a big fight coming up at BFL 71 on next Thursday, the 10th of March, against Kyran Cameron for the interim lightweight title. Dario, how are you doing today, sir?
Doing great, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. As I said, I've been looking forward to kind of speaking to you because you're training over in Vancouver, and I feel like you're kind of going under the radar. You know, we at SevereMMA, we like to shine a light on Irish MMA, and we just launched a podcast where we're looking to say from the amateurs to the pros, and it's easy to kind of forget about the guys who are abroad representing Ireland, but it's great to sit down and chat with you.
Sound, appreciate it.
So
good chat.
100%. So I guess first maybe we can just kind of get to know you a bit better. So you're Irish originally, obviously. Where are you from originally?
So my mother's Irish from Crumlin, Dublin, and my father is from Italy. He's from Lazio. So I've been living in Bray and Wicklow since I came to Vancouver, I suppose 8 years ago. So up until 2019, I went to St. Jared's School, played a lot of rugby. I played rugby in Greystones for like 2 years after that, and then I did breakdancing for about 18 months or something. And then when I started boxing and kickboxing, it was like a perfect transition. It was like rugby, tough, get your head in there, get the job done. I was always in the pack, so I was like open side flanker for the senior cup and stuff like that. So I was tough that way. But then when the dancing came in, the footwork got better, and then when I started fighting, it was toughness on the footwork. It worked great. So so training at home in Ireland for a couple of years. I was training with Legends MMA with Stefan Mariarty there, and Dean Knight and Ty Dixon. They were the main guys in the gym there. We were just training away, and I didn't really start fighting because I wanted to compete. I just started fighting just for the well-being and just kind of self-defense and stuff like that. And I was training for about a year and a half, and then my coach was like, "I'm putting you in a fight." I was like, "All right, cool." So he introduced me to the weight cut. I cut down from being a rugby player to a 145er when I first started. I fought at 145, fought out in Rumble and Rush. And what's the name of the performance? It was a performance martial arts or something that was out there. And I fought out there, and I kind of went wholeheartedly into it and did the weight cut just as is. And it was tough. I was really, really tough on myself. It took me 3 months to get down. And then when I had the fight, it was over in the first round after like 2 minutes or something. And I had to be the saddest looking loser because I just wanted war. I thought it was going to be broken bones and blood splattered everywhere, you know. I thought it was going to be.
Did you win?
You know, I won. Yeah, I won. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I won.
That's the positive side of it anyway.
I know I did win, but I was just like, that's it. That's all. I was like, I thought it was going to be like, you know, a banger, you know. So, But anyway, and then I was hooked. After that, then I was hooked. I just wanted to do it again and again. So I fought with Stefan in Legends MMA there for a while. And 5 years later, then I just decided to go abroad. I had a friend who was living in Vancouver here as a personal trainer. And he just said to me, you know, man, come over here, train with me. And, you know, there's a Muay Thai gym in the same gym that I'm in. And you'll love it. You know, Vancouver's great. You know, so I got a 2-year visa. I came over here with a friend of mine and started to train, found my gym. I was training with a different gym. I was training with Iron City here in Vancouver for about a year and a half or so. And then where I'm at now, Diaz Combat Sports, Ryan Diaz opened up his first gym. And I've been with him ever since. He opened up like a month or 2 months. Most of the guys from my gym and my gym closed down, came into this place. And the facility we have now is fantastic. We just built it up. So came here as an amateur, trained as an amateur. I went down to the States. I was fighting down in AX fighting championships where like Demetrius Johnson fought when he was an amateur. So down there, AMC is a big gym that's involved with them. They always have loads of fighters down there. So I fought against a guy called Jay White, who was from AMC, same gym as Demetrius Johnson. And I went down there and I fought a couple of times before I got to him. And I competed with him. I lost the first fight. And then we went off and I fought again a couple of times down there. And so did he. Both of us kept winning our fights. So then eventually then they brought us back together for a title fight. So I went down there, fought him a second time. Only person I've ever fought twice. And I beat him. So I took the title back from Washington back up here. And then from here, then Battlefield, which is the big show that's in Vancouver here, which I had aimed to be on within a year of getting here. It took me 5 years to get on it, but with the credibility from the title shot I had before, they automatically gave me a title shot against brown belt Manny Fernandez from Czechmat here in Vancouver. I fought him, TKO'd him in the fourth referee stoppage, and won that title. And then I got my contract to go pro. And then I've been fighting pro now. This is my 6th fight. So that's it. Sorry, that's not much about where I come from at home, but
no, that was great.
What I've been doing when I'm here.
Yeah, that was kind of exactly what I was looking for. The whole story.
Slap it together in a nutshell.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So
there's a lot to kind of unpack from that. So I want to go back. So you said you made the transition from rugby and you're a flanker. So like when you're playing flanker, what were you, probably, I don't know, 85, 90 kilos?
Yeah, about that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you're dropping down to 145. How was that transition?
Madness. I don't think I had one tap of a carb for like close to 3 months. Like if you check out my Facebook page, you'll see some photographs of me, and there's a photograph of me there before I had to go and lose another kilo. I lost 4 kilos on the day of the weight cut, and it was honestly just willpower that got me through it, because I was like, I can do this, and it was very difficult. So my diet was really good. I'm lucky because my parents raised me in a restaurant business, kind of in the kitchen, so I know how to make food differently, even if it's the same kind of ingredients. So I was kind of blessed there, where I was eating kind of healthy food, and I was always making it different, so that it kind of always had something different flavor to it, you know. And
did I see that it's an award-winning restaurant nonetheless?
You did. Yeah. My brother just won the award there for best fish and chip takeaway in the country. Brilliant.
Congratulations to the family.
Yeah, Sam, thanks very much. Yeah, we're stoked. We're super stoked. Yeah, my brother took over the business in 2019, and he's been killing it, man. He's been killing it. So that's he's the chipper champ. He got the chipper champ award. So hopefully I'll be the champ now in the next week.
Exactly, the champs.
The champs, exactly. To be 2 champs now in the family. Yeah. So that's awesome. So it was the fish and chip shop. Yeah, Lino's Chipmongers and Bray. Which is where I pretty much learned my work ethics for what I'm doing right now. It's just work. Brilliant. Hard work pays off. So from 14 hours a day standing behind the pan. I used to get up in the morning before I go to work and train for an hour and a half, and then go to work, and then after, like, I work from noon till about 2 o'clock in the morning, obviously with a couple of breaks in between, and then I go for a run then out to Shangana. Go run around the Shangana Park for about 10K, come home, go to bed, wake up and do the same thing again. So it was like living 2 lives. Even when I came to Vancouver, it was like living 2 lives. I was working here as a bar manager. And that's how I got my residency, to be able to stay. And it was like, working as a bar manager, staying up till 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, then waking up in the morning again to go train. And then days that I had off, I'd train in the morning and I'd train at night and do some running, sauna, steam room in the afternoon. So like I knew people that did, even at home and in Canada, I knew people that did like their full-time job, and then that was what they did. And I was like, and then I knew people in the gym that were full-time fighters, and that's all they did. But I was living 2 lives for the longest time until I was able to combine them after, Jesus, I don't know how many years. And in the last,
so are you still working now then?
Not as a bar manager. No, not as a bar manager. So now I'm working as an instructor here in DCS. So I'm the strength and conditioning coach here in DCS. And then I have like just some private clients and stuff like that I teach to fight. And I've got clients from all over the map. I got guys that want to compete. I got, families that come in. I got, everybody. I talk to some of the guys and they're laughing at me. They're like, oh, you got an easy life, holding pads, but pretty much you're like a walking punch bag for people half the time. You know what I mean? And sometimes people come in, they want to learn. Sometimes people don't come in, they want to learn. They just want to come in, they want to hit you. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like as wonderful as it is, it's everything has its ups and downs, But I love it. It's nice to be able to be in the gym, work in the gym, and then have time then in between my clients and stuff to put in a bit of work here, hop in the sauna, grab one of the boys, do some pads, So it's like it's a whole lifestyle for me now, which is great. It's definitely better than being in the pub, the whole time.
Yeah, definitely different working in the gym rather than working in the chipper or the pub.
It's like total life changing, Yeah. I worked hard to get here.
100%. And you know, just going back to your training in Ireland, so I was trying to, when I started kind of watching you from afar, I was like, who is this guy? Like, who's he trained with? Where did he train in Ireland? He's obviously, you
Yeah,
know, he's
yeah.
come from Ireland. And so I was asking around, and I was chatting to James Sheehan, and he was saying that he used
Oh yeah.
to spar
The
with
two
you
boys.
in Kokoro.
Yes, yeah. Kokoro down in just out past Connolly Dart Station. Yeah, we used to train out there with those boys.
Yeah.
That
So,
was
so
good.
what
That was
other
good shit,
other
man.
guys? So it was the Sheehan brothers, and who else would you have trained with that is kind of, I guess, still
Shane
around the
brothers.
UFC now?
Obviously, Derek Kennedy was the coach out there as well. Chris, I can't remember his name. Chris Fogg. An English fella, Chris. And then obviously, like, not out from Kokoro. I can't remember most of the lads' names from out in Kokoro, but you know, here I used to train with some of the guys out in the Muay Thai gym there in Newtown, Mount Kennedy. I'm trying to think of his name now. Strict Muay Thai guys. We go out there when we had competitions on, and we go out there and we fight to just stand up, you know.
Yeah.
I might pop into my head now,
Oh,
but
no
but mainly I was training in like what is now Dunleary martial arts with Stefan Mariarty, and the two boys used to give me an awful time. Dean Knight and Ty Dixon. Those two boys used to give me an awful time, so it was great. And then there was loads of other lads from Bray as well that would train with us, and kind of people came in and out. You know yourself, sometimes life gets in the way of training.
Yeah, of course.
But you know, there was always a good group of people there, and the most importantly about a gym, like the family vibe and the community. You know, we used to like all know each other outside the gym. We'd train with each other. We'd run down to the promenade, run down to the beach. You know, Stefan would take us up to Bray Head and get us doing sprints on the mountain and stuff like that. You know, so it's like the most important thing about the community. So it was always the community was always there, and depending on whoever came in and out, it was always just putting in hard work with the boys, you know.
Yeah. And what was it that attracted you to, I guess, combat sports, going from rugby to breakdancing? And then you said your entry to combat sports was through boxing, was it?
Yeah, when I started with Stefan in Legends, I was doing boxing and kickboxing. I was just doing the stand-up stuff. That's all I was doing, because I kind of I didn't have any clue what jiu-jitsu was, to be honest. And it was just a case where I was just training over there. I had trained in team sports my whole life, and you know, when you get beyond the school's rugby, because I played for the senior cup team, and it was pretty serious, you know. St. Jared's done pretty well the year that I was there. We played in Lansdowne Road and stuff. So when I went into the club rugby, you know, a lot of boys, like I was working Friday, Saturday nights, working till late, and then waking up on Sunday early, even though I was tired, I'd get up and have a good breakfast and then head over to play the game. And like, you know, as is, you know, when guys get older, rugby turns into more of a fun thing than a recreational kind of sport. And, you know, I was training with them, and a lot of the boys, you know, they were, you know, out drinking on Friday, Saturdays while I was working. And then I came with a bit more of a serious head. Now, some of these boys were far more talented at the sport than I was, but, you know, you're getting into the scrums and stuff like that, and the boys are smelling the booze. You're just like, fuck, you know, what am I doing here? And I've been putting in a lot of effort. So I said to myself, you know, I'm going to try for the first time. I'll try an individual sport. So I love hip hop. I'm making hip hop music. I went to Bray Institute of Further Education to do the sound engineering course there and the DJ technology course. And it just kind of like, it got me into moving my body for hip hop. So I started doing breakdancing, and I did that for about 18 months. And then after that, then I was like, okay, well, breakdance is good fun and all, but you know, I need the impact. I need a bit of impact. I need something a little bit more tough, you know? So Stefan had the gym across the street from me. So I just went in there, and I just kind of like took it class by class.
Yeah. And would you compete at breakdancing or perform?
No, compete. No, I wouldn't perform. I've been to a bunch of performances, and I thought to myself, I want to get good enough to be able to hop in there, you know. And it's all about confidence and flair and style, you know what I mean? Which is good to transfer over to the fighting as well. But never competed with that, no. And then, like I said, I was training in the gym for a long time, and my coach was looking at me like, oh, you know, we should get you to fight. I wasn't interested in fighting. I didn't want to, you know, wasn't interested in beating anybody up or getting beat up myself. But then I started doing jiu-jitsu after about 2 months of all the stand-up. And after I got into that, I was very excited. I was like, what is this? This is just fucking unbelievable. There's no impact. It's all just like chess with your body. You know what I mean? It's all about like submitting somebody who just infatuated me. You know, that you could stop somebody without having to knock them out. And I got into that, and even my youngest brothers, I pulled my youngest brothers over. I pulled some of my friends into the gym and everything. And you know, I tried to get everybody to do it because I was like, this is amazing. And not everybody stuck to it, and I did. I just the passion just kept growing with every training session that I did, and it made me feel good, made me feel healthy. And anytime there was any like negativity or bad things going on in my life, when I walked into the gym, I was just able to. It was like I always see it as like in Willy Wonka, you know, when he has the suds all over the car and he walks through, or they drive through the machine and they're squeaky clean again. It's like I walk into the gym and all that shit's just out the fucking door.
Like a reset. That's
it. I walk in there and I'm squeaky clean, ready to go. You know, I'll deal with the outside world when I have to.
Yeah.
You know, so the gym's always been my safe haven, and it's probably like that for a lot of people.
That's great. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it's done wonders for you. I want to talk to you a little bit about, you know, the move over to Vancouver, and also, I guess, representing Ireland or Ireland and Italy over in Vancouver. So we were talking just before we started recording. I was saying, you know, I lived abroad for a number of years as well, and I always I felt it to a little bit of an extent that I was almost like the token Irish guy. Like, do you feel like that a little bit over when you're so far away from home and, you know, fighting on these Canadian shows?
Yeah, a little bit. There's, you know, when I started working in the bar industry, I had to like slow down how I spoke, because people would just keep asking me, what? They're like, sorry. What was that you said? Sorry. And they just didn't understand me. So working in the service industry made me kind of like tone down the Irish accent and kind of like slow down my speaking and make sure that everybody was able to understand me. So yeah, you kind of have to adapt, you know what I mean? But no, there's a lot of Irish people here in Vancouver, and yeah, I've got friends here and they're all from home as well. I've got like a handful of friends here that are from home, and you know, even though I'm so busy, I barely get to even talk to them, they're always there for me, you know?
Yeah, and you know, you carry both the Irish and Italian flags out with you when you fight.
I do. Because I was carrying just the Irish flag, and my father said to me, "Hold on a second, you got Italian blood in you. What's going on? Where's the Italian flag?"
What the fuck?
Exactly. He's like, "Big God." So yeah, so I carry both of them now, because you know, I'm 50-50. Yeah. And now that I'm a permanent resident in Canada, I'm hoping to maybe get in the split in down the middle that has my name and the flag. I'm hoping to get a bit of the Canadian flag in there.
Nice.
You know,
nice. And you know, so you mentioned earlier on, you started you finished your amateur career with BFL, with Battlefield Fight League, and right. every fight since then as a pro has been with them. Why BFL?
Well, BFL would have been the largest promotion, the most well-known promotion here in Vancouver. So like I had been watching. I've been watching a bunch of my peers and people that were in my gym that were fighting there as pros, and the guys are winning the pro titles, and I was looking at them like, oh, these guys are the real deal, you know what I mean? Like Ash Smash and Dayan Kajic. If you know any of the Battlefield, if you've been watching the Battlefield, Dayan has helped me an awful lot out there in Universal MMA, and you know, I've been doing a bit of cross training with those guys, and those guys all were training with me in Iron City before I moved to Diaz Combat Sports. You know, so those guys, I looked at them years ago, like, oh, these guys are, you know, the people that I admired became my friends. Yeah. And then they became like the people that I kind of like were the people setting the bar. Sorry, I'm after going off top of there. Say, what was the question again, bro?
No, I was just asking about, you know, I guess the reason for choosing BFL. So looking at it kind of from a long distance, well, over here, Cage Warriors is generally the route. Cage Warriors is on UFC Fight Pass. It's got a kind of great production value, and historically, it's been the route to the UFC. There are obviously many other routes at this point now. But when I was looking, I was kind of watching and going back, watching some of your older fights and then following you along for your last couple. I was noticing some similarities almost where it's on UFC Fight Pass. They seem to have a great production value, and I noticed also, I think that the champion who vacated the title, because you're fighting for an interim title, or sorry,
That's
the
right.
vacated title there, right? He went
Yeah.
to the, Dana White's Contender Series. So was this?
That's correct.
You see this promotion as almost like I'm
Stepping stone.
Yeah, let me back up a sec. Is your goal to make it to the UFC? I guess is the first question.
My goal was never to go to the UFC. No, my goal was to. I basically was working at home, and I was born and bred to what I felt was to take over the family business. And you know, as happy as I was to do that, I knew that there was more to life than just settling down for that. You know, I mean, even though how great it was, you know, I was blessed to have that opportunity. But I fell in love with fighting, and I wanted to just see how far the rabbit hole goes. You know, I said I can run a restaurant when I'm 50 years old. I can't be a fighter when I'm 50 years old. So I might as well use my youth and see how far the rabbit hole goes and see what I'm made of. And then if all else fails, I know what makes me happy, and I know what I can do to be content. So that's basically just like my journey of my self-worth in this rabbit hole, and I haven't reached the bottom just yet. So I always just wanted to improve and do the best I could. And I never thought the UFC was going to be in the picture. It was always just a fight with myself, just a battle of self-worth.
Yeah. So you said there that it wasn't the goal. Is it now the goal?
No. No. The goal is to see how far the rabbit hole goes and to see what I'm made of. You know what I mean? Like, I'm 33 years old. A lot of guys that are getting into the UFC, you know, you got these guys like Hooper that are getting in there 20 years old. They've got their whole lives ahead of them to just become absolute beasts. But again, where do these people come from? The background that I come from, I believe, is a lot of the learning that a lot of fighters have to go through. And I feel like I came into this sport with a good mentality and with a lot of lessons that were already learned. Obviously, I learned a lot of lessons since I've been doing it, but my ethics and everything that makes me individual and stand out makes me exceptional, I think, is stuff that I've learned from my family business, from the upbringing that I've had. You know what I mean? It's from the inside out, you know. So now that UFC is in the picture, you know, I've been described as a director that doesn't watch movies because people are like, "Oh, did you see the fight? Did you see the fight?" I'm like, no. I don't watch television. I don't watch television. If I sit down to watch television, I sit down with my girl to watch television because she wants to watch television, and I fall asleep after 5 minutes because I'm knackered. You know what I mean? Like, television is not something that I do, so I don't actually follow a lot of the UFC fights. My coach even says to me, he's like, "You know what? It's probably a good thing because you could be getting in there against someone who's an absolute monster, and you have no idea." So obviously, I do watch it. I have my UFC Fight Pass. I go and I watch lots of fights. But I'd rather watch like PFL or watching Cage Warriors and seeing these guys that are out to prove something, or out to do something, out to like get it. You know what I mean? Not these guys that are there and want to look fancy and want to put on a show. That's great when you get there. But I like the fucking rough, tough, gritty grind. I want to see guys going in there with, I'm willing to die for this shit. You know what I mean? And I want to see that. And you see that you see it mainly in the smaller fights and the guys that are out there to actually get themselves into the right eyes. So that's what I love to watch, you know, because I watch the UFC and I see a lot of you watch the still frames of guys getting knocked out and the punches they get knocked out with, you know, where's the other hand? It's down towards the ground or in their pocket or something. Bad habits. Don't be watching that shit and thinking that you can do stuff like they do when the technique isn't 100%, you know. I would rather focus on the technique as pure as it is and not be tainted by watching anything else. You know, I love the idea of spinning heel kicks and fucking all that fancy stuff, but the stuff that wins fights are the basic stuff. Like, what is an advanced move? An advanced move is a well-refined basic move. You know what I mean? Don't be worried about spinning heel kicks. Learn how to throw a jab properly. You know? So I like to keep my fundamentals clean and crisp. And you'll notice that with me now, it's like, I don't want to make mistakes. Perfection is never able to be reached, but there's a level of excellence that I expect from myself. And that's what I focus on the most.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with a lot of what you said there. And especially the point about you know, watching the guys on the rise. I started off watching the UFC, and now I find myself down at the national championships, watching the amateurs, you know, following Cage Wars, following Cage Conflict this weekend, the local shows. So my next question was going to be, and I thought it was going to be, the answer was going to be no when you said you don't want the UFC, but do you follow the Irish scene? Do you keep an eye on the guys coming up in Irish MMA back home?
You know, I don't, because I watch some of the Cage Warrior stuff, which is great, but I don't take note of who's who and what's what. You know what I mean? I'm watching it as a sport. You know what I mean? A lot of guys get wrapped up in the drama and the he said, she said stuff. I watch it as a sport. You know what I mean? Because it's technical to me. It's all technical. I don't really worry about the kind of soap opera kind of side of it. You know? So when I watch a fight, it's like just two skeletons going at each other that have organs that can be hit. You know, it's like I'm standing in front of somebody and I'm sparring with them. It could be my friend, it could be someone I don't know, it could be my arch enemy. Doesn't matter. You're just a body with a skeleton that works a certain way, that I can bend a certain way to make you submit, and you've got organs there that I can hit and make you drop.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't matter who you are, what you are, you know. So it's super technical for me. So I just like to watch it for the sport side of it, you know, because I don't have time. My head's already too full of things to be worried about this fella, that fella, and you know, I just kind of stick to myself. You know, a bit of a lone soldier.
It's interesting you say that though, because I feel like, well, one, you can fight. You're 5-0 now, undefeated in your pro career, but there's a bit of showman to you as well. I feel like I remember seeing, and I don't know if it comes from the breakdancing or what, but there was a post-fight interview. Maybe it was after the second.
It was after Craig Shintani.
That's the one where
Shintani fight.
I get this right. You said, "I've got a shit ton of fuck you in these hands." and for anyone on the roster to come see you, basically.
Yeah. That's it, because people see me, that the people ask me, you know, or even talk to my coaches and say, you know, what's Dario's best, you know, what kind of fighter is he, and what do people fear about him the most? And people fear my hands, because I pack a punch. Like when I hit you, I'm not just hitting you for the points. I'm sending my vibes right out my fists. You know what I mean? And that's what lads are saying to me. They're like, you know, well, how come you're so heavy-handed? You know, so man, it's weighed down with all the fuck you in the hands, you know. So it's just something that I shout out in the gym the odd time, and that's what just came to me there when they asked me.
Yeah. So let's look ahead. I've enjoyed this thoroughly.
Yeah, me too.
Let's look ahead to the Kyran Cameron fight. So, you know, he's coming down a weight, right? So it's for the interim title. The champion is vacated, and he's just fought for the 170-pound title, and he's coming down to 155.
That's right. He fought against Dayan.
Okay, so are you pretty familiar
with Kyran?
Yeah.
Familiar in the sense that, like, I've watched some of his footage and things like that, but no, not familiar with his history or anything that hasn't been put up on YouTube or anything that's out there already. And again, I'm not the kind of person who watches a lot of footage. I know people watch footage and try to dissect them. I worry more about myself and making sure that I look clean, that I look like, that I'm making as minimal mistakes as possible. But my coaches, like my team here in Diaz Combat Sports, is phenomenal. You know, I have Jonathan Hutchison with me, Coach Hutch, and he looks at the footage with me and explains to me what's going on and blah, blah. And he writes down the things that he can see, and I don't worry about what he looks like or what he does or anything like that. We work on what he prefers to do, and we kind of make sure that we're aware of his favorites, you know.
Gotcha.
But other than that, he seems like a nice guy, man. You know what I mean? Like I always say to everybody, people that are in the MMA game, man, they might look tough, they might look dangerous, they might be all badass and stuff, but we're all Mammy's boys, you know.
Yeah,
you know, so it doesn't make a difference what you look like, you know. You're just a man, you know what I mean? So this guy's gonna step in there with me, and you know, I love my mother just as much as the next man, but when they put me in a corner or put me in a cage and it's gonna be me or you, it's not about who you are or who I am. It's about where I come from and my blood and my ancestries, and I'm just trying to earn my right one day to lay with them.
I wanted to ask about that. You posted something very similar. You know, I think it was a photo of you in Bray Head. How much does it mean? Does it mean to you? I guess your heritage. How much does it mean to you when you step into the cage?
Massive, man, massive. The Fifth Degree magazine, the MMA, Irish MMA magazine, the Fifth Degree magazine, had an article on me. And, you know, I believe that we inherit emotions from our past. You know what I mean? You might not be the person who went through it, but it's in your blood, you know? So I have a lot of, I've got a lot of, I don't even know what it is, man. I would consider it power, pain. I don't know what it is, man, but I can feel it inside of me. It's a fire, you know? So I know it comes from, you know, the Irish background. My mother's born and raised in Dublin, and the whole family from the Mattins and the Powers. And that's the two families that I come from. And yeah, like, I don't know a lot or exactly what was going on, but like our Irish history, we're resilient as fuck. You know what I mean? Like, you try to beat us down, you might hold us down for a while, but we're coming back. And when we do, we come back strong. So I always carry that Irish side of that heritage with me, and the Italian side as well. You know, the fire, the passion, you know, the rage. You know what I mean? But that has to be controlled. You can't just let loose of the reins and just fight emotionally.
Only inside the cage.
That's the thing, man. That's the thing. Yeah. This, you know, I find being Irish Italian, man, it's been a crazy life being brought up in an Irish Italian family. You know what I mean? Like I said, a lot of passion, a lot of fire and love, you know, comes in all different forms, you know? So like, I just think that, you know, as an emotional person, you know what I mean? I feel everything. You know, I am a very emotional person, and fighting has allowed me to be able to control my emotions and channel that, you know, whether it's rage or love or any emotion, sadness, happiness, whatever it is. Fighting has allowed me to be able to learn to deal with the hype and deal with the stress and find peace in war.
I appreciate the time. I'll end on this one. I was going to kind of ask at the end, you know, is it all about the UFC, the potential to go to Dana White's Contender Series, considering, you know, the path, I guess, that has already been laid by previous competitors in BFL, but that doesn't sound like that's not in your mind right now. So what I want to know is, you seem to come in with kind of like a growth mindset towards this whole fighting thing. What are you looking to show or display come Thursday night when you step in the cage with Kyran Cameron?
I want to show the dedication that I have for my sport and the respect that I have for the sport because of how it's carried me through a lot of difficulty. And when I win this, it's not going to be coming home to just me. It's coming home to the team. It's coming home to Ryan Diaz. It's coming home to Jonathan Hutchison. It's coming home to Stuart Cooper. I have Christoph Van Dijk here for the last couple of months helping us with our MMA. He's a phenomenal fighter, and like all the coaches are phenomenal. And it's all the hard work that I've put in, but all that hard work has been under the wing of all these people. So to come home with something like that, not only for myself and for my country and for, you know, my family and for my blood, but also for the team, the people who carry me to where I'm at now, and the people who will carry me further. You know, when one wins, we all win, you know, and when one loses, we all lose. So when I come back to the team a winner, everybody can consider themselves a part of it.
Last question. What's the prediction for the fight?
I'd be very surprised if it goes the whole 5 rounds. Because I feel very comfortable. I feel very ready. And yeah, I'm gonna be out there to shine. You're gonna see me shining, that's for sure. You know, and if I won't be making the mistakes. If there's any mistakes going down, I'll be taking full I'll be capitalizing on them, taking full advantage of them.
Dario Sinagoga, I really appreciate the time. It's been a pleasure. So taking on Kyran Cameron in the main event of BFL 71 next Thursday, the 10th of March, and UFC Fight Pass. So tune in. I'm sure, look, we're not there. We're not in Canada. We're not in Vancouver, but I'd say there'll be a lot of Irish watching from afar. It's right there on UFC Fight Pass. Nice and easy to watch. So we'll put up all the details on the site. But it was great to speak to you for the first time, and best of luck next week.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll chat again.
Exactly. Absolutely. Thanks, Dario.